Till now, we have seen how users can be created manually. Now, let's see another way for this, which is automation related to the user creation. Majorly, almost I would say almost most of the companies who are using ServiceNow, they use Ldap integration to create the users. This is nothing but the source of creation of user records. So let's see how the Ldap can be configured. We are not going deep into the configuration. We are just going at high level. What are the settings that need to be configured will be discussed in this current session. For that, first we need to go to the Ldap. Just type Ldap, and here you will be able to see create new server. You can create a new server. Basically, first let's understand what exactly Ldap is. Ldap is a protocol. It's a protocol to access a Active Directory. Active Directory is an it's a type of application which stores the user data and also the group data. If you are taking any organization, the users in their organization are stored in an Active Directory. Users and also, as I said, groups also, group membership also. Now, what we are going to do is, in ServiceNow, we are going to integrate our ServiceNow system with that Active Directory. This will actually fetch all the details from that Active Directory to the ServiceNow system. How we can do it is, basically we need to configure this integration. How we are going to configure? Basically we need to first initiate the Ldap servers. We need to create the Ldap server records. We already have an existing Ldap server created by the ServiceNow, which is an out of the box record. First, as I said, we need to configure the Ldap server, the server which is holding the Active Directory records. Once we add up that particular server URL, then we need to configure the username and password. We just need to mention the login distinguished name, which is nothing but the username, and also the password for that particular user. And then where exactly should we search in that directory? As I said, it is an Active Directory. We need to know it has a lot of details in it. We need to give the proper path, like where exactly do we need to search. We should also give some name for our reference, the name of this Ldap server. These are the basic things which are to be configured when we are creating an Ldap server. Once it is created, we need to configure the OU definition, organization unit. One for each class. I would say group is a class and users is again another class. So for groups, let's get into the OU definition. We need to give the relative distinguished name, which is cn equal to users. This is something which is provided by the Active Directory. We need to give the query field and also certain filters. As I said, Active Directory contains lots of records. What exactly do we want to fetch? Depending upon this filter, it will give us the records. Once we get the data from that Active Directory, where should the data be stored? It is mentioned over this table. Right now, as I said, this is a group's OU definition. We are going to the target table will be group table. Let us come back again and let's see how the user OU definition is present. Now, in this user's OU definition, you can see that there is a different filter. So based upon this filter, it will fetch only the user records. And you can also see that the table is user table. So this is how you are going to configure the OU definitions. OU definition is nothing but organizational unit definition. One for each class, one for users and another for groups. And then we have the data source. In this data source, we are going to configure this Ldap server and we are going to link this Ldap server and the transform map. Once we get the data from the Active Directory, how should it transform? What field should be mapped to what field? Like in the Active Directory, we are getting the group name, we are getting the group manager name, we are getting the group description. How should we map it with our fields, our group table fields? That is defined in the transform map. We are going to discuss about the data sources and the transform maps in further classes. Once we are integrated with the Active Directory, then the data source comes into picture, and once the data from the Active Directory comes to the ServiceNow, data source and transform map will get run, and then the whole data will be transformed to the user and group tables. This is how basically the Ldap works.